speaking of Kyle, so he might bench Mac Jones this week, but I think Mac Jones has had a better season than Kyle. Kyle's doing some things really well. He gets credit for Mac, but the running game really stinks. And it seems like 10 games in, we see why it stinks. Sometimes it's good. When they run McCaffrey or Brian Robinson Jr. between the tackles, they've had success. But Kyle likes running outside zone, which is sort of an east-west style running game, horizontal style running game, and it's just not working, and he just won't adapt. What do you think of that?
Well, I'd even go a little further and say he runs the whole offense through CMC. Now, again, I was watching the broadcast yesterday, and Burkhardt, who's along with Brady, he's like, Christian McCaffrey's great. He has the most touches, and he's wonderful. And you'd think he was talking about Jim Brown.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is, Christian McCaffrey, God love him, and I'm always partial to Stanford guys, is hurting the team. And it's not his fault. There are ways to use him where he would be an A+. You could use him sometimes to run the ball in certain situations, maybe, I don't know, where you need a quick little back. And you can use him beautifully as a receiver coming out of the backfield. He filters through the line of scrimmage. He's always open at 8 or 9 yards. And then he can once he's quote unquote in space, he can actually run pretty well.
I think it's a big reason that Mac Jones is playing so well. It's really nice to have that kind of a check down. He makes any quarterback more efficient.
Yeah, he's wonderful. I admire him. He gets hit so hard and he gets up. He doesn't complain. But Iggy, yesterday he averaged 2.5 yards a carry. He had more carries than Robinson Jr. That's wrong. And it's wrong because it hurts the team. It's because in key moments, Kyle says, like, you need a yard. Iggy, wasn't there one play where they needed – tell the play.
It was 4th and 1. It was in the first half. You need to get that. I mean, usually they do a quarterback sneak there, but if you're going to hand it to a running back, I don't know, maybe Brian Robinson Jr., who's more of a goal line power back anyway. But if you're going to give it to Christian McCaffrey, why don't you run him straight into the line and not ask him to run sideways for 2 or 3 seconds, which is what he asked him to do. He lost yards. They turned the ball over on downs.
Yeah, that's very bad, and it's not on McCaffrey. It's on the coach. So what I think is this. I think Kyle's strategy is wrong. I think he should wean himself off from all of this McCaffrey dependence, and I think he could get more out of McCaffrey if we were to do that. He should use Robinson as a running back at least equal times to McCaffrey or more. And certainly when you need a yard, you run this Robinson up the middle, not over to San Mateo. You know what I mean? Not on the side or wherever that is, Mountain View. You don't do that. So I am not criticizing McCaffrey. I'm criticizing the coach. And again, I'm going to use a word. He's stubborn. Iggy, he's stubborn. Rather than saying, this hasn't been working for 9 games. Let's do something different. He's saying, it's my system. I'm going to make it work. That's his biggest limitation as a coach.
Absolutely. And it's like, now that you get this deep into the year, you look at it and you're like, man, you're the biggest reason the running game isn't working, because you're choosing to use your running backs incorrectly. They could get their money's worth with Christian McCaffrey this year in a different way. They don't have to give him 12 to 18 carries a game to feel like they actually got their money's worth. They could throw him the ball as much as they've been and use him as a complementary runner to Brian Robinson Jr., and he might be really great in that role. But to just give him the ball on first down all the time, I mean, you see what's going to happen. So it's on Kyle. He could absolutely adjust and have a good running game, but he chooses to keep doing the thing that's not working.
Yeah, and the other thing that's so interesting about it, Iggy, it's not subtle. Sometimes in football, I get confused. Is it this coverage or that coverage? This isn't subtle. He gives
No.
them the ball, he gets 2 or 3 yards, and they knock him down. And
Yep.
now it's 2nd and 7 or 2nd and 8.
Yep.
Everybody can see that. It's not something like the coverage, which you can't understand or can't see, or the A gap or the B gap. He gets the ball, he gets knocked down by big guys, and he stands up after 2 or 3 yards. That's obvious. And the coach still feels wedded to that, comfortable with that, and that is a coaching failure. And it's not fair to McCaffrey, and it's not fair to the team.
Yeah. And it's like, and people would say, well, okay, well, it's not McCaffrey's fault. Maybe it's the blocking. Well, on the same team with the same blockers in the same game against the same opponent yesterday, Brian Robinson Jr. averaged 5 yards a carry while McCaffrey averaged 2.5. So I think when you isolate the variables, it's McCaffrey. And I'm not saying he's not good anymore. He absolutely is very good. And he's a huge asset to the offense as a receiver. But when it's time to run the ball, your best running back is Brian Robinson Jr. And if you don't use him, then you're going to lose games. It's going to be a lot harder to score points.
And another thing, you were talking after the game yesterday about the core of the team, which is a bullshit concept, the core. And McCaffrey, of course, if there's a core, should be in it. But so should Robinson Jr.
Yep.
He should be in it too.
Yep.
And you know what? Some of these tight ends should be in it, aside from Kittle, in addition to Kittle.
I agree.
Yeah.
Jake Tonjes was in the core for a few weeks when you freaking needed him. He stepped up, then Kittle comes back and you forget about him? Cool.
Yeah, and that's again, he's stubborn and he's narrow-minded. I don't mean as a person, I mean as a coach. He's narrow-minded. Tonjes really added something. Wouldn't you rather have Tonjes on the field than the fullback?
One of the things I like about football is that it's unpredictable, and the core, if it is a concept, let's say your best players that week, is constantly changing. And a guy that you didn't think about, a guy who might have been a backup last week, can become your best player in 2 weeks. I mean, that was the Brock Purdy story, right? Third string to franchise quarterback in a month. That's what we love about football. You have to react to that. So if Brian Robinson is running better than Christian McCaffrey, guess what? Robinson's in the court. Robinson's going to Cabo. Go with it. You might win. It's a nice thing. It's a good problem to have. And Christian can make room for him at the core dinner table. Christian can go to the children's table for a week.
I'm going to tell you something funny. I never told you. When I used to interview Bill Walsh when he was the coach, he was always very polite. He never used any curse words because I was media. Then after he retired from the Niners, he didn't have to talk that way anymore. So we were chatting on the phone one day and we were talking about the 49ers, and he said, I got a problem with that team, Lowell. This is George Seifert's team. I said, what's that, Bill? He says, where's the fucking running back? What he said to me. So where's the fucking running back? And I thought, whoa, like I never heard him talk like that before, and talking about George's team, and George was his guy. So I think Bill
that must have been between Roger Craig and Ricky Waters when they were searching for a running back. Yeah.
Well, if he were looking at this team, he'd say, where's the fucking running back? That's what Bill would say to me on the phone. He's not going to consider McCaffrey the running back. You can't have it.
He's a hell of a slot receiver.
Yeah. Where's the fucking running back? So that's my comment on this arrangement. Kyle, where's the fucking running back?
Yeah. It seems like he's on the sideline wearing number 3. And it's funny. I mean, you've made it this far. You're 6-4. But you're kind of choosing to play offense with one hand tied behind your back. That's what I would consider this Christian McCaffrey offense in 2025. You're like deliberately choosing not to be as good as you can be on offense. And that, to me, makes Mac Jones' season even more impressive. It's not like he hands the ball off 30 times and they win easily. I mean, that's the kind of stuff Jimmy Garoppolo used to do. That's not what's happening this season.
Yeah, now Kyle it's not like he wants to lose. He's in his own way. He's so stubborn. He's so stubborn. He's in his own way. And I got to say, I was a teacher for many years. Teachers, leaders, coaches can't be stubborn in that way. They have to listen, be open-minded to changing. You have to be.
You can't get your ego tied into your plans.
No, no.
This is what I want to do this season. This is what I think is the best way to go about my offense. This is how I want to structure it. Okay, you're halfway through the season. It's not working out like you planned, but you have eyes. You're smart. You can react. We do have a running game. It's there. It's not the way I thought it would be, but it's there. So I'm just going to adjust. Why can't he do that? And that's my biggest issue with Kyle Shanahan. Good coach, smart guy, but he can't do that one thing. That one thing requires self-esteem, confidence. Yeah, but you have to be able to be like, yeah, I was wrong. And that's okay, because I didn't have to be able to predict the future. I just have to be able to make the right adjustment now and admit that I was wrong.
I love it. And Iggy, a lot of people say, do you have a plan B? Like in fighting, when Canelo fought that guy, he didn't have a plan B and he got beat. Kyle has a plan B. It's obvious, but he won't use it. He has a plan B. Run the other guy more.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Robinson has now run extremely well in 2 straight games. He has touchdowns in 2 straight games. McCaffrey seems like he's even getting a little bit more tired as the season. I mean, they've given him an absurd amount of touches. See what they do next week. They almost have to give Brian Robinson Jr. 10 carries or as many or more than Christian McCaffrey, even though he's not getting paid, but Christian's getting paid. See if they do it, because the contract should not dictate how many times you get the ball. That's bullshit. Performance.
I'm going to defend Kyle on this. I'm not sure that he goes with contract. Okay. I don't know. I think he has a certain idea about players, about roster. And I'm willing to grant that he's wrong in how he uses his roster, but I am not sure that he bases it on money or contract. I don't know.
You're right. It's a bad look. Just want to throw that out there, Kyle.
Very bad look.